Bill Doyle, Worcester Telegram. Brad, any lineup changes, starting lineup changes tonight? What are they?
Gerald Green for Amir.
And why are you doing that?
Similar to some of the thought processes we went through in the Chicago series. I mean, you can ask whatever you want. I don't know. Hold on. Are there rules?
Well, I don't know. I don't think you can say it, so I don't need to ask you.
Okay. Yeah, but I can say no comment or whatever.
We're starting out with Lebron.
Yeah, we're going to have to guard him as a team. That's better than no comment.
Coach, when it comes to Gerald, I mean, he's gone from situations where he started and played a lot of minutes to not playing at all. I mean, how do you kind of talk to him about keeping his mind in that situation? How do you think he's going to respond, hopefully?
Yeah, I think that's a really unique trait to be able to respond to that. We're asking a lot of our guys to, like a guy like Amir, to start 4 games, not start, and be flexible in that regard. But those guys, Jonas, who hasn't played as much in the last couple of games but played such a big part for us all year, like it says a lot about who they are, that they're able to embrace that and be great teammates through it, and be ready when called upon. And Gerald specifically has been ready when called upon all year, in a unique year, right, for him. I mean, he got hurt in training camp, didn't hardly play at all till Christmas, played in the Christmas Day game, and then played a lot while Avery was out, but didn't play a lot in March. And but he was always been ready, and he always stays ready.
Coach Bob Schwab from the Citizen. Yesterday you were talking about the second half, that stretch about 10 minutes going between bridging the third and fourth quarters. What did you take from that, and what goes forward with it?
Well, I don't know how much of it was, sometimes in a 20 to 25 point game, you're playing so free, and they're playing with really everything to lose, that it's not a great or a true evaluator of what you can do moving forward. But I did think we competed at a better level. I thought we did some things that, we'll continue to try to do tonight at a better level. But ultimately, it's going to come down to we've got to be a lot better defensively. And there's no easy answer, right? I mean, when LeBron has the ball, we've got to be able to make it as tough as possible individually, but show appropriate help and get to the shooters. So there's a lot that goes on there. And then offensively, obviously I think we have to take advantage of our strengths, play to those, and we're trying to put as many shooters on the floor as possible, and hopefully knock a few of those down.
Hey, Brad, back to the Amir Gerald thing for a moment. When you go smaller against that team, I mean, they're so good up front, especially on the offensive glass. I mean, how do you combat it when you do go smaller?
I mean, there's things that when you go small that are not advantages, and things that you've got to be able to soar with that are strengths. And so, obviously, when you're small, your guards have to do a great job if they end up in a rotation on Thompson or Love specifically of blocking out. And everybody's got to pursue the ball. And, it's like we said in the Chicago series, we're not making this move expecting to win the glass by 15. If we can manage it and be solid in that regard, and make it as tough as possible, and not turn it over on the other end, and get good shots and knock them down, then, that's your way of managing it.
Hey, Coach, the message over the last 2 days, how much of it was you got to play hard, you have to compete right from the jump, and how much of it was strategy-wise we need to do X, Y, and Z?
No, I mean, I think that the first part you said is a non-negotiable, and it's May 18th or whatever. You're in your third playoff series. You're all the way through the regular season. You know that there's a level of compete you have to be at, and but I think that from a strategy standpoint, you know, we'll spend a little bit of time in film watching some of the things that we can do better from a transition defense or a block out or, you know, the effort type stuff. But, you know, we spend most of the time of saying, hey, listen, we know what we need to do in that regard. Let's focus on what we need to do better from a strategy standpoint. If there's any tweaks to make them and move forward. Our guys are great about responding. You know that. I mean, they're pretty unique in that regard, I think.
Brad, the Cavs made a pretty strong emphasis to stunt the roll man in Game 1. From your perspective, they stunned it from the weak side. From your perspective, what challenges does that present, and how can you counteract that?
And that's what they've done the whole playoff run. I mean, they're blitzing. That's what blitzing teams do. They bring the bottom guy over. You know, if you're a hard show or a blitzing team, that's the way you rotate. And so you just have to be great about getting the ball out of the blitz quickly. And then you got to be great about flashing into the open spots and making the next right play. We've been pretty good at that this year. And I thought we did a pretty good job at times of handling it the other day. Not as good as hopefully we will be. But, you know, even looking back on it, I felt good about a lot of the shots we got. We didn't shoot it well, but I felt pretty good about the shots we got.
Brad, Jalen's been playing really well lately. Is part of the impetus to start Gerald instead of Jalen that you like having Jalen coming in later in the first quarter?
Yeah. And, you know, whoever starts between Amir and Gerald hasn't played as much as some of our bench guys.
I was wondering, you were highly complimentary of the Cavs, obviously the last couple of days, and the predicaments that they put you in. In the previous round, Kyle Lowry was saying nobody's closed the gap on LeBron, and he hasn't seen it happen. Do you have to guard against the defeatist mentality, just entering a series like this against a team like that with the weapons that they have?
Well, I think the biggest thing is everybody in the world knows they're good. You know, we kind of go through the typical season progression of how good they are, and then in March and April we got to answer all the questions about what's wrong with Cleveland, and it's like, oh, they're going to be fine, trust us. And then now they're right who they are, and I think the biggest thing is that, and just being in our locker room, that, you know, our guys have kind of been, you know, we've been built on a way of having a chip on your shoulder, competing, being excited about the challenge. Like, I think that you should look at this if you're a competitor. You're going out there to do everything you can to win that next possession, and hopefully those add up to win the game. And there should be no more fun challenge if you're a basketball player than playing against the best. That should be as good as it gets. And that's the way I look at it, at least.